pull up a chair. I'm going to tell a story. It starts with a young Josh 5 years ago. I took my first trip out of the country to Costa Rica. I loved it. I knew I wanted more of this. I wanted to travel. I wanted to be mobile. At the time, I was hitting the weights hard. Barbells and dumbbells were my daily grind. I knew I couldn't truly be a nomad if I had to rely on gyms. Shifting to bodyweight training was hard because my ego was wrapped up in how much weight I could lift. But my body started to change, and so did my mind. Detaching myself from the gym made me want to detach from other things. I took my business online and I found ways to become more self-reliant in all aspects of life. I'm definitely not as thick and juicy as I used to be. I mean, these days I'm a skinny dude with a man bun, but I do feel good and actually pretty strong and in control. The reason I share my story is because sometimes we need someone to give us permission to try something new or let a belief go. It helped me out so much to see other people doing things a bit of a different way, but still quite happy. And while there's no gym access, there is access to challenging leg movements that will humble the shit out of you. Here we go. The first exercises are shrimp squat by 5 reps, Nordic curl by 5 reps, and then repeat 4 to 5 times. Make sure to fit this to your current level because this workout will be a lot of volume. Years ago, I saw Ido Portal doing shrimp squats and I thought, I'll do those too. And I fell on my face. The full shrimp is a very challenging movement. Pull your heel to your butt with both hands, squat down, and touch the knee of the non-working leg to the ground. What really helps me is to push my knee forward as far as possible, shifting all my weight onto the toe. I also bend my torso forward as much as I can in order to counterbalance my weight. But let's be real, most of us can't start with the full shrimp squat. It's taken me years to get to this place. It requires so much ankle mobility and a lot of quad strength. For a simple regressed version, try to do the same shrimp pattern without holding your foot behind you. Make sure that your knee touches down to the ground first. Extend your arms out in front of you to counterbalance your weight and work on controlling the movement from the working leg. Once you get those feeling pretty strong, you can grab your foot with one hand. So now you still have the other arm to reach out in front of you and counterbalance. The other thing that I'm doing here is I'm using this mat to reduce the range of motion that I have to travel down. So you can use an object of any height and you can gradually reduce the height of that object as you become stronger and more mobile. The Nordic curl is one exercise I wish I started doing much earlier. It's made my knees and my hips feel so healthy and it's increased my athleticism. This version here was taught to me by Ben Patrick, Knees Over Toe Guy on Instagram. This version allows you to use momentum to do the up version of the Nordic curl. You can then overload the lowering phase by lowering down slow with your hips extended. If you don't have this set up at your home, no worries. Most of our Move Strong Now members do this exercise by hooking the heels underneath a couch or a bed. For the more regressed version, keep the hips right over the knees and then you'll bend at the waist, come down slowly, touch the nose down to the ground, and then raise back up. As you become stronger, you can move your hips in front of your knees and try to touch your chin or chest to the ground. I find these are truly humbling for everyone. Even if you can deadlift a lot of weight, these will challenge the hamstrings in a completely different way. So after completing our strength work, let's move into some volume work. We're going to do sissy or split squat for 8 to 10 reps, supine hamstring curl for 8 to 10 reps. We're going to repeat this 3 to 4 times. Now, if your shrimp squat was pretty non-existent, I recommend hopping into split squats to work on quad strength with ankle mobility. Start in a split stance, send that front knee forward as far as you can over the toe, and then push yourself back to the start. Notice that my torso stays upright and I'm trying to keep my back knee as straight as I can. Elevating the front foot will really help with getting deeper, especially if the ankle mobility needs some work. A lot of people really love and recommend this exercise, and the reason is because it's a strength movement that will directly improve your overall mobility in the lower body. Now, if you have some dumbbells or a weight vest at the house, you can feel free to throw that on to overload the movement a little bit more. Now, if we want to challenge the quads a little bit more with just body weight, we can move into the sissy squat. The full sissy squat involves keeping the hips extended, pushing the knees forward to the ground, and then reversing the movement back up. Now, the full sissy squat has a big balance component to it. So if you're just interested in leg strength and not a cool Instagram video, then I suggest just using some assistance from the wall. You can also use a target when you're first starting out to reduce the range of motion that you're moving through. Make sure to lean the torso back and actively press into the toes. This is a movement that you have to respect. Don't rush into anything beyond your capacity. Rushing into a full sissy squat right off the bat is equivalent to putting too much weight on the bar and then squatting it. You have to start slow and then gradually build up. Next, it's hamstring curl time. Place your feet in some rings or a suspension trainer and pull the heel towards your butt. Do not bend at the hips. Keep the hips pressed upwards towards the sky the whole time. So you don't have any rings? Well, it's probably time to get some. But also, you can do this same movement by using socks on hardwood or carpet. And trust me, it's about equally as challenging. And our final exercise couplet is the bodyweight reverse hyper for 12 to 15 reps and the cossack squat for 6 to 10 reps. We're going to repeat this 3 times. So what about them glutes? We got to train them glutes. We're going to do that with the reverse hyper. And while you're home, you might as well make some mobility gains with the cossack squat. For the reverse hyper, you gotta just lay your belly down with your hip crease right in the corner of a table or a countertop. Grab the table to make sure that you're locked in. Bring the knees up and then extend your legs until they are completely straight behind you. I recommend giving a pause at the end of each rep when you are fully engaged, and you can pause on the last rep for anywhere from 5 to 10 seconds. Now, to make this a little bit more challenging, keep the legs straight the whole time. This will increase the lever, which means increased intensity on the hips. And lastly, we have the cossack squat. This is a version of the cossack squat that I'm currently using to increase some of that inner thigh adductor mobility. So I'm gonna squat to one side and I'm going to straighten the other leg, and I'm gonna try to keep that foot facing forward with the straight knee. I'm taking these slow and controlling every point along the way. If I discover a sticky spot, then I like to explore that spot and see if I can make it a bit more comfortable. Now, if the cossack is pretty challenging for you, I recommend elevating the heel of the foot that you are squatting to. And you can use this version of lifting the toe and slightly rotating the torso, which will be a little bit less demands on the mobility. Let me know how this leg routine goes. Now, let's get a little nerdy. Let's talk books. So there's been a few books along the way that have really helped me kind of stay on the path that I want to go and to challenge me to grow a little bit. One of the first books that I read a long time ago that really inspired me was The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. Most of these books I have on my Kindle. Because I travel a lot, it's easier to use the Kindle, although I do prefer having that nice paperback. But The Alchemist, a really easy read, a short story, but it's just a very inspiring story if you are someone who's trying to, maybe in the process of doing, of maybe taking a risk and doing something a little bit different. I think it can be a really, really nice book to read. Another recommendation that I can make is a book that I read more recently. It's called Beautiful Practice: An Whole Life Approach to Health, Performance, and the Human Predicament. Frank Forensich. Hope I'm pronouncing that one right too. I'd recommend this one to anyone who's trying to deepen their exercise practice and their movement practice, and who wants to kind of let their physical practice serve as a metaphor for how you handle things in life. It reminds me of Seattle because I read a lot of it when I was on a trip to Seattle, which was quite lovely. But it's kind of one of the themes of the book is how you do one thing is how you do everything, right? So the more you deepen your relationship to your physical practice, the more that will carry over into all aspects of life. This third book, I'm actually only halfway through, but I'm really loving it, and it's The Untethered Soul by Michael Allen Singer. And yeah, if you're into spirituality, but it's actually not really spirituality, it's more just consciousness and awareness and like what we're doing here and who am I, you know? And I think he puts it in a really easily digestible way, and I'm really enjoying this book, and it's been recommended to me a few times, I think by maybe some of you guys on YouTube, so I appreciate the recommendation, and I could recommend the first half of the book. Last but not least, I just picked up Aaron Alexander's book from the Align podcast. This is The Align Method. It actually just came in the mail yesterday, so I'm looking forward to diving into that, and it's a great time to support people that you enjoy, right? And I've listened to Aaron's podcast for years, so you know, getting the book is a no-brainer. And right now, with all the uncertainty going on in the world, it's a really lovely time to support people who you like and who you've learned something from. I think that with the uncertainty, it can kind of, you know, it's normal to maybe adopt a little bit of a scarcity mindset, but if you're able to stay abundant in this time and just kind of spread positivity and good vibes and just be nice to people, it goes a long way, you know, and you can kind of contribute to keeping a good vibe in the world. I'd love to know which books have impacted your life in a positive way. List them below. We can get a big list of books going for all of us to kind of draw upon. Subscribe to Strength Side. Hit the bell to turn on the notifications. As always,